At 79, Barry Gibb looks back on a life that has stretched across the most transformative decades in modern music. From post-war Britain to global superstardom, his journey with the Bee Gees became one of the defining stories of popular culture. What makes his later reflections so compelling is not just the scale of his success, but the emotional weight behind it. Having outlived his brothers Maurice, Robin, and Andy, Barry now speaks with a quieter tone, shaped by memory and endurance. In this retelling of his thoughts about Cliff Richard, we see not a sensational revelation, but a reflective conversation between two long-surviving figures of British pop history. Their lives, though different in style and trajectory, intersected across decades of shared stages, cultural shifts, and changing musical eras that redefined what fame could mean. Early life and musical foundations of Barry Gibb. Barry Gibb was born into a household where music was not a profession, but a natural language. Raised in a family that moved between the Isle of Man, Manchester, and Australia, he grew up surrounded by shifting landscapes and evolving influences. These early years shaped his sense of melody and harmony as he and his brothers began experimenting with music long before fame entered the picture. The Gibb household encouraged creativity, and Barry quickly emerged as the most prolific songwriter among them. Even as a child, he displayed a deep sensitivity for lyrical storytelling and vocal arrangement. These instincts would later define the Bee Gees' signature sound. The experience of relocation also gave him adaptability, allowing him to absorb different musical cultures. By the time the family settled in Australia, Barry was already building the foundations of a career that would eventually reshape global pop music. The formation and rise of the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees began as a family collaboration driven by necessity, talent, and shared ambition. Barry, Robin, and Maurice Gibb started performing together in small venues in Australia, slowly refining the harmonies that would become their hallmark. Their early sound carried influences of British pop and American rock, but it was their emotional vocal blending that set them apart. After gaining attention from industry figures, the group moved to England, where their career accelerated rapidly. The late 1960s brought their first major hits, establishing them as serious songwriters rather than just performers. Barry's leadership in shaping their musical direction became increasingly evident during this period. His falsetto, later iconic, began to emerge as a defining feature of their sound. The Bee Gees were no longer just a family act. They were becoming architects of a new kind of pop music identity, global stardom and the disco revolution. The 1970s marked the Bee Gees' transformation into global superstars, particularly through their association with the disco movement. Their contributions to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack became cultural landmarks, with songs that defined an entire era of nightlife and dance culture. Barry Gibb's vocal style evolved dramatically during this time, embracing a falsetto that became instantly recognizable worldwide. The group's songwriting during this period combined rhythmic innovation with emotional accessibility, allowing them to dominate charts across continents. Success, however, also brought intense scrutiny and pressure, as fame expanded beyond anything they had previously experienced. Despite the overwhelming nature of their popularity, Barry remained deeply involved in production and creative direction. The Bee Gees became not only performers but cultural symbols of a changing musical landscape, representing both the glamour and complexity of the disco era at its peak. Songwriting beyond the Bee Gees. Barry Gibb's influence extended far beyond his work with his brothers, as he became one of the most sought-after songwriters of his generation. His collaborations with artists such as Barbra Streisand, Diana Ross, and Kenny Rogers demonstrated his versatility and emotional range. He had a rare ability to adapt his writing style to different voices while maintaining a consistent sense of melody and depth. Songs like Guilty and Islands in the Stream showcased his talent for crafting timeless hits that transcended genre boundaries. This period established him not only as a performer but also as a behind-the-scenes architect of popular music. His songwriting success reinforced his reputation as a figure capable of bridging pop, soul, and country influences. Even as musical trends shifted, Barry's work remained relevant, proving that his creative instincts were not confined to the Bee Gees alone, but part of a broader artistic vision. Loss, grief, and personal transformation. The deaths of Barry Gibb's brothers marked the most painful chapters of his life, reshaping both his personal and creative world. Andy's passing in 1988 was followed years later by Maurice in 2003 and Robin in 2012, each loss deepening the emotional weight Barry carried. These were not only family tragedies but also the dissolution of a creative partnership that had lasted decades. The Bee Gees as a unit were inseparable from the bond between the brothers, and their absence left a silence that music could not fully fill. Barry often spoke of continuing to feel their presence in performance, suggesting that their connection endured beyond physical separation. Grief became a defining force in his later life, influencing his tone, his outlook, and his approach to music. Yet through this sorrow, he continued performing, driven by both memory and responsibility to their shared legacy. Later career and artistic reflection. In his later years, Barry Gibb's music became more introspective, reflecting a lifetime of experience, loss, and survival. His solo work, particularly later albums, revealed a softer, more reflective voice compared to the energetic productions of earlier decades. Rather than chasing trends, he focused on emotional honesty and simplicity. Performances became less about spectacle and more about storytelling, often honoring the legacy of his brothers. Audiences responded to this shift with appreciation, recognizing the depth behind his continued presence on stage. Barry's longevity in the industry became a symbol of resilience, showing how an artist can evolve without abandoning identity. His later career was not a reinvention but a continuation, shaped by decades of learning, adaptation, and emotional endurance. It also provided the space for reflection on peers such as Cliff Richard, whose own career had followed a similarly enduring path: marriage, family, and personal stability. Barry Gibb's personal life found long-term stability in his marriage to Linda Gray, whom he met during the early 1970s. Their relationship developed during a period of rapid fame and constant travel, yet it became a grounding force in his life. Together, they built a large family and created a sense of normalcy amid global celebrity. Linda's presence provided emotional balance during moments of intense professional pressure and personal loss. Barry often described her as his anchor, someone who helped him maintain perspective when fame became overwhelming. Their marriage endured through decades of change, demonstrating a rare consistency in an industry known for instability. While earlier relationships reflected the uncertainties of youth and rising fame, his marriage to Linda represented maturity, partnership, and emotional resilience. It became one of the most stable aspects of his life, allowing him to navigate both success and grief. Early admiration for Cliff Richard. Barry Gibb's reflections on Cliff Richard begin with a sense of early admiration rooted in respect rather than competition. Cliff represented a different kind of artist in the British music scene, disciplined, consistent, and guided by personal conviction. For Barry, watching Cliff's rise in the early years of pop music demonstrated that success did not require abandoning integrity or personal values. Cliff's ability to maintain a clean-cut public image while achieving widespread popularity stood in contrast to many of the era's more chaotic celebrity narratives. Barry saw in him a model of stability, someone who balanced fame with personal belief. This admiration was not based on close friendship, but on professional respect, shaped by shared experience in a rapidly evolving industry. Cliff's success also helped open international doors for British musicians, including the Bee Gees, who would later achieve global recognition. Distance, fame, and diverging paths. As both Barry Gibb and Cliff Richard navigated decades of success, their paths occasionally crossed but rarely aligned closely. The demands of global fame, constant touring, and shifting musical landscapes meant that personal connections often became secondary to professional obligations. Barry reflected that while respect remained constant, regular interaction faded over time. This distance was not unusual in the music industry, where careers often move in parallel rather than intersecting closely. The Bee Gees' explosive rise during the disco era placed them in a different cultural space compared to Cliff's more traditional pop trajectory. Despite this, Barry recognized that both shared the challenge of sustaining relevance across changing generations. Fame, he suggested, often creates separation even among those who admire each other. Their relationship became one defined more by mutual acknowledgement than by sustained personal contact. Respect, legacy, and shared experience. In reflecting on Cliff Richard, Barry Gibb emphasizes respect as the defining element of their connection. He views Cliff as an artist who maintained authenticity throughout decades of shifting public expectations. This consistency, in Barry's eyes, represents a rare form of artistic strength. Both men have endured the pressures of fame, personal loss, and industry transformation, yet continued performing into later life. Barry's admiration is rooted not in nostalgia, but in recognition of shared endurance. Their careers, while stylistically different, reflect parallel journeys through the highs and lows of the entertainment world. Each has contributed significantly to the cultural fabric of British and global music. For Barry, Cliff represents a figure who remained grounded despite extraordinary success, a quality he associates with longevity and artistic integrity. A final reflection on friendship and music. At this stage in his life, Barry Gibb's reflections carry a tone of gratitude rather than revelation. His comments about Cliff Richard are less about uncovering truths and more about acknowledging a shared journey through music history. Both artists have lived through eras that reshaped the industry, from early pop beginnings to global commercial dominance. Barry's words suggest an understanding that longevity in music is itself an achievement, shaped by resilience and adaptation. Cliff Richard, in his view, represents continuity in an ever-changing world. Their connection is not defined by closeness, but by parallel endurance. In reflecting on him, Barry also reflects on himself, his brothers, and the passage of time. What remains is a sense of respect that transcends distance